Controversial take. This game is good. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a hyper-realistic Western world set in the United States at the end of the 1800s going into the 1900s. You are Arthur Morgan, an outlaw trying to survive in a world with your gang by your side. I really appreciate this game because they captured the Western world of the dying outlaw era perfectly. There wasn't a point I can't recall that the game didn't make me feel immersed. Sure, the game has game-like features with fetch quests and challenges that are just find and collect this specific item, but in those cases, the devs still found a way to make the world and gameplay mix well enough that those boring fetch quests and challenges were still fun. So let's go ahead and jump right in. The gameplay is smooth. There is a first and third person, and if you've ever played a Rockstar game, you know that first person is miserable and that if you play in it, we can't be friends. I did use it when I was in a small location, like in a small house or a cave, to see some items that were in front of my character that I couldn't see in third person, but other than that, I only use third person. Gunplay is great. There really isn't any kind of weird or wacky addition like leaning or anything like that, but there is a nice cover mechanic while in combat in addition to Deadeye. Deadeye can be used to slow down time and mark enemies, which is fun during duels and intense fights with a lot of people. Outside of the gunplay, the character movement feels good when walking, sprinting, riding your horse, climbing, although jumping sometimes does feel a little bit wonky, but overall, it feels real and not like floaty or anything. There are a lot of ways to attack something during a mission, meaning that you can go silent with throwing knives and tomahawks, or loud and heavy with a catalog of different firearms to use. In addition, there is also a hunting mechanic in the game. It isn't a huge part, but sometimes it does feel like it. It is something that'll take you away from the main story to just roam the world and hunt some animals or just inspect them and get them in your catalog of animals that you've found. But that's not to say the story isn't good though. There aren't many story games that get me immersed and involved without getting boring at different parts. But this game to me felt different because there's hardly ever a dull moment. Spoilers for this next part, if it's something that you don't want to hear about. Jump to the next timestamp of the world in the video's description. One of the most recognized missions in this game is called Blood Feuds, Ancient and Modern. In this mission, you are raiding a family estate from the Braithwaites looking for a child called Jack, who everyone in the gang is wanting back because they are assuming the Braithwaites took him. From the start of the mission to the end, you feel the anger of the gang towards this family. You pull up to their house, which is one of the most heavily and beautifully crafted game missions of all time in my opinion. From the tension right before the first bullet is shot to the final moments of the house burning down is just perfectly executed. And that is just one of many missions this game has to offer. One thing I really do enjoy is that this game forces you and your gang to jump between camps, which forces you to explore the world and not just stay in one place the whole game. Hiding from the government, killing other gangs, running from the local law, this game has you on your toes. As I mentioned earlier, there are some fetch quests and search and collect stuff, which isn't always fun, but that's where the world's atmosphere really does take over for that. I've played a lot of different games with amazing and great worlds, and this game is up there for the world building and atmosphere. From sunrise to sunset, you can feel that the world is alive, and I honestly don't feel like I need to touch too much on it because there are some great videos out there of explaining how the world and animals react to one another, even when the player isn't looking, and how everything is so connected and linked up with everything. People to this day are still comparing this 2018 game to details of 2024 and 2025 games, which honestly shows me the decline of harsh deadlines and corpse controlling AAA games. There's so much detail to how everything is crafted. One thing I really enjoy is the world structure difference between the different environments, going from swampy lands to open plains to hot deserts, And the animals, people, gangs, buildings, foliage, herbs all reflect those environments really, really well. And there's a feature in the game that lets you have this catalog of animals that you've found, in addition to some other stuff that I'll go over later. But it's a really cool part to me because I know that a lot of games do have like collectibles in their game, if that makes sense, or like, a list of things that you've found in the game. But this is just a really cool part to me because it really makes you look in the world and notice how many animals the game devs have actually crafted. And I understand it's just one small thing out of so many different parts of this world, but the animals is kind of what ties a lot of this game together. It's a Western game. You are still in a world that is being built from the ground up, if that makes sense, in this United States land. And it's just a really cool part to see when you're walking around the world, just how many different kinds of birds and fish and little critters even that are just made for walking in the nighttime, or you can only see them at a specific time of day, or you can only find them in this specific part of the map. It's just really cool to me, and it really speaks out to how dedicated the devs were to making a beautifully crafted world. But that doesn't also throw away from other things like the buildings. Walking from Saint Denis into a small town like Valentine, it's just really cool to see the difference between the two, right? It's the same world. It just really reflects and shows how different people in these sides of the worlds live. You got people in Saint Denis who are highly popular, or they have a lot of money, or a lot of responsibility, or they own a very fancy type of shop. And then you go to Valentine and it's hardworking people that are building the buildings around them, that are honest hard workers and local farmers. And it's just really cool to see the difference between the two, and jumping around from the different gangs as well, seeing how different some of the gangs are from each other, like the Skinners and the O'Driscolls, and how they just kind of interact with the world in your gang in addition as well, and you as a person. As for the other content, the game has a bunch. There are challenges you can do which help keep you busy if you want to take a break from the main story. These challenges include different things like learning how to be more of a thief, or gambling, or collecting herbs, hunting animals, being a master at your firearms and weapons. There's also the hunting mechanic, which I mentioned earlier, that you can use to get food and materials to make new clothing or tonics, in addition to selling as another source of income or donating to your camp. There are also legendary animals that you can hunt, which take a bit longer to find and give you some one-of-a-kind type of items. There's also collectibles like cigarette cards, bones, cave drawings, dream catchers, in addition to gambling, which you can never go wrong with. You can buy horses, customize Arthur Morgan, get a new saddle, swap some gun parts around, browse some ammo, buy some food, and you're ready for this gunslinging world. In the end, I would put this in one of my top 5 games, which I think most people would. I was honestly thinking about not doing a review for this game, considering most people love it, but I thought it would be fun anyways. So I'd recommend this game to anyone in 2025 for a replay or a first run through. Just wait until the first chapter is over though. That chapter is to get used to the game mechanics and introduce you to the characters before setting you free. It's kind of long and slow a little bit, but that's just kind of how it is. That would be one of my grudges of the game, is chapter 1 is boring, and but I understand the reason for it. It's just going through it a second time, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of ready to be out of this area. Another little grudge that I have is the cigarette cards. I know for a fact nobody wants to run around the whole map and find all of those cigarette cards. It takes way too long, especially for a completionist run, which I wanted to go for, honestly. But after finding out how many cigarette cards there were to collect, I was really debating on not doing a completionist run. But I understand the point of it. A lot of games have it. It's just for you to rank up your hours in the gameplay, and it's just there if you want it. It's not a necessity. Once again, just like the last game review, I wanted to end the video off with a short clip for you to enjoy.
Get down here now, you inbred trash! Whatever complaint you have with us, alleged or otherwise, that is a young boy. You ain't gonna be civilized about this.
Oh, I know your type. Common scum.